It's the Professional Life Advice Show with your host, Will Strickland. Professional Life Advice, where you too can be a professional.
So Newark is a part of me. And it was in Newark that I got my African consciousness, because we lived in the context that our beautiful sister talked about, a village. 14th Street, 13th Street, 12th Street was a village. In different areas where our people lived in Newark were villages. Our people took care of each other. My mother's family lived with my brother and I and my father on 14th Street. Her family lived on 13th Street. My father's family lived on 12th Street. Of the 100 youngsters I grew up in Newark, the Spellmans and Percy Olivers and all the rest of us, out of the 100 young men and women I grew up with, 90 of us made it. And many of us made it. The village took care of us. Nobody was afraid to show Africanness. Your mothers and fathers were your direct parents, but anybody in that community could be your auntie or your uncle or your mothers and fathers. They transmitted the values to us collectively. We went to camps together. We had our baseball teams. We went to a little church down the street together. And it wasn't just Bible lessons we were getting lessons in our humanity. There were people who wanted us to know that we are. Who are we? We're the chosen people. Who are we and what have we accomplished? We laid the foundations for human development, human culture, human civilization. We laid the foundations for the high culture, the science, the mathematics, the philosophy, the medicine. All of that is us, and all of it has been systematically kept from us. And our major responsibility is to have a sacred mission to restore our people to their greatness.
Yes.
To restore our young men, because if the young women don't have young men to build with, you won't have a family. And so we got a project, all of us, to take our young people and make them who and what they should be. Africa is the villages. Our people came up from the south, and we had the rural villages. When we were in enslavement, we created a village in back of the slave plantation so we could be human. We could take care of each other. But Africa also has a future. Everybody on the planet is looking for Africa. When you talk about Africa, you talk about the past, going back to the beginning of humankind. When you talk about Africa, you talk about the present. The most important thing on planet Earth now is the African continent. When you talk about the future, the most important thing that people have to connect to is Africa. The Chinese are sitting in China now, figuring out how can they get more of Africa. The Arabs are sitting in the desert of Saudi Arabia, trying to figure out how can they get into Africa. The Indians in India are not staying in India. They're talking about how can we connect with Africa. The Europeans were supposed to have a 1,000-year war between communism and capitalism. These Europeans are getting together and figuring out how can they relate to Africa. The only people who are not seriously relating to Africa the way they should are people of African descent. That's what we've got to be about. But it's happening. Whether you do anything or not, the historical forces of the world have moved African people. This is the period of African rise. The theme of my conference call tonight with the ASCAP leadership and my conference call tonight with WADU, the organization that I'm currently president of. Dr. Mario asked me, what is going to be the nature of your presentation? The theme of it is going to be Pan-Africanism and the African Renaissance. We are in a period of rebirth and rise now. And it will be dealing with the legacy of Dr. John Henry Clark and his partner, Dr. Ben. Dr. Shep Anta and his partner, Dr. Theophil Obango, and Dr. Carruthers and his cousin, Dr. Hilliard. It is going to be that enormous legacy that involves the explosion of information about who and what we are. And because we have been kept in the dark, so it's hard for us to understand that Africa now, when I talked to the Conference of Black Mayors, I held up this sign. I said, you not only have to link with the mayors across America, you have to link with the mayors in Africa. This is the image. Images are worth 1,000 words. I'm going to run some images past you, and then I'm going to take my seat. These are the great cities of Africa. Africa is, for the most part, villages, but Africa is exploding on the world with cities. Cairo is 20 million people in Egypt. In West Africa, Lagos is 20 million people. And the other cities in the Abidjan, 5 million. Dakar, 4 million. Africa is also the urban areas. Ethiopia is being prepared to take world leadership and becoming a world-class city. I was just in Ethiopia. Last May I was there. The most recent May I was there, and my wife and I were there with her younger brother in November. Ethiopia is being prepared to be an international center for African peoples. In fact, it is the center for what is called the African Union. It was.
Hi, my name is Tremaine Howell, aka Master Tremaine, and the song I will be singing for you is Understanding. The people shake when the news shows. The government won't tell the truth. The children miss their father and mother, and nobody will explain. Can you see their pain? Why does the man in the wheelchair inspires the man that walks? Why did the newborn baby die and the murderer walks? And I just don't understand.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Professional Life Advice, where you too can be a professional. My name is Will Strickland, and my special guest, all the way from East Orange, New Jersey, which is actually not that far away, is Miss Brittany Timberlake. Brittany, say hello.
Hi.
All right. So Brittany started an organization called College Bound Cookies. Brittany, you want to tell everybody about College Bound Cookies? It sounds yummy so far.
Yes, it is. Well,
right.
Obviously it's cookies,
okay.
And it's frozen gourmet cookie dough, and it's to be used as a fundraiser by organizations that have children, such as YMCAs or schools. And when the children sell cookie dough, a portion of the proceeds actually goes into a college savings account in their name, while the other portion raises money for whatever program they're participating in, the school or the YMCA or whatever other entity that has children, such as a Little League, or anyone can participate.
Fantastic. So Brittany, this idea of college-bound cookies and helping people save money, actually save some dough to go off to college, how did this all come about? I understand you were a student at Seton Hall, or is that
yes.
where you started out?
Yes, I went to Seton Hall University for my bachelor's and for my master's.
Fantastic. Seton Hall in the building.
Yes,
Let's go Pirates.
Go Pirates.
All right.
And when I told my mother I was accepted to Seton Hall, I watched her face glaze over.
Okay.
And it's because of the cost of tuition.
Right, I understand.
Seton Hall can run anywhere between, $30,000 to $50,000 a year. Easily. And
that's not even counting books.
That's right. And I was raised when you go to college, not if you go to college. I think every child should be raised the same to seek some kind of higher education, whether or not it be a college, a university, or a trade school.
Right.
And I thought back to when my brother and I used to sell fundraisers. We would go door to door, and we would try to get whatever it was that they were promising us as a prize.
Absolutely.
Usually the item was something my parents weren't going to buy. A Sega Genesis or some kind of game system.
Right.
And I started to think, we never won the prizes. What did we use the money for? What if I would have gotten a portion of those proceeds of those sales to go into a college fund?
Wow, interesting. So is that how you actually came up with the concept for college-bound cookies, and then actually, where'd you actually begin? Right after college, or when did you get started?
Yes, I got started, I've always been an entrepreneur, and I had a catering company. I still do have a catering company, and I established the cookie dough. I created the cookie dough and the flavors, and that's what makes them gourmet. They all have a different hint of something unique in them. The sugar is infused with fresh oranges, the chocolate chip with coconut.
Wow, sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is. And the oatmeal has honey and almonds.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, so I just got very creative with it, and I have a heart to serve the public and a degree in nonprofit management, and I merged my two passions, cooking and helping people.
Wow, fantastic. So actually, give the audience an idea on how they can get involved in college-bound cookies and how they can,
Well, first you should visit our website, www.collegeboundcookies.com. All of the information is there. If you have any questions, you can give us a call, you can shoot us an email, and we will certainly respond within 24 hours. If you work with children, or even if you just live in the area and you want your child to sell these cookies, and maybe their school isn't necessarily willing or able to participate in the program at this time, but you still want them to sell, that's okay. You can register your child as an independent, or you can register them as a part of a larger organization. We want to help every single child. I want this opportunity to at least be presented to every single child. Whether or not they take advantage of it or not is up to them. But as long as the option is there, because I know that had my parents had been presented with something like this whenever I was growing up, they would have certainly opted to sell the cookies versus the whatever candy sales that we were selling that we wouldn't have gotten any money back to our family.
Right. Now, give the audience a little idea, because I know you had a function down at the Newark Public Library, downtown Newark, on
Yes.
Washington Street. And actually, how does it work? I mean, tell us how it works. I mean, because I think there's a savings plan that they can actually save the money into from the funds that they're actually making.
Yeah.
Tell us how it works.
Yeah, well, we were down at the Newark Public Library, and it was an open registration, registering any school, organization, or independent child that wants to participate. And the first step is, do you have a college savings account open for your child?
Okay.
I think most people, they have been meaning to do so, but they haven't gotten around to it. And there's also the misconception that, well, I don't have any money. There's more month than there is money, and I can't save. But you can actually open up a college savings account with a deposit with as little as $25.
Wow.
We have a partnership with City National Bank. City National Bank is the largest black-owned bank in the area, okay? And they also have a heart and a passion to serve the community, and always have for 40 years.
Right.
So they caught a hold of this vision, and they've been definitely running with it. But you can go to City National Bank down on Broad Street and right next to Newark City Hall and open up a college savings account with them.
Is that a special college savings? I mean, is there any tax benefits or anything? How's it work? I mean, is there a special name for that account?
Yes, it's a 529 college savings account.
Okay.
And what that is 529 college
Did
savings.
you guys get that? 529 savings account. Make sure
529.
you go out and start one now, because if you got a kid in high school or in grammar school, this is the time to make that move.
From the womb, really.
Wow.
From the womb. Because see, what it is a 529 college savings account is an interest building account. So that means the earlier you start it, the more interest it grows over time. You might say, I already have a savings account open. But if you look at the interest of the regular savings account versus an interest on a college savings account of 529, you'll see the difference. You will receive more of a return
Wow.
on your initial investment if you do a 529 college savings account. These are IRS regulated accounts that are tied to the stock market, and that's how they incur interest. You can choose between conservative or aggressive accounts, but these are all the things that our partner, City National Bank, can definitely talk to you about. But
Wow.
if you wanted to use your own bank, you certainly could too. But City National is the one that's most familiar with college-bound cookies, and they're also promoting the $25 deposit, whereas a lot of other banks, usually it's $250
Good
deposit.
information.
just
Almost
to start
sounds
it.
like a 401k. I mean, if I had started, I probably could have used some cookie dough to make it into college myself. I went to New York Institute of Technology. So do us a favor. We're actually going to give a little bit of advice. If anyone who's looking to start a business, I mean, it must have took a lot of diligence, a lot of patience, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of time in a hot oven
Yes,
for
it
you to
did.
start this business. What kind of advice can you give our listeners who may be thinking of starting a business such as this? What kind of advice can you give?
First of all, no pun intended, you have to be hungry. You have to know what you want, and you have to know that nothing can stop you to achieve it. If there's an obstacle, you have to go above it, you have to go around it, you have to go under it, you need to get through it. And you have to hang in there. If you have a vision, you need to see your vision all the way through, and don't let anyone stop you. Be dedicated.
Excellent. Right. So before we go, also, tell our viewers, how can they reach College Bound Cookies, and how can they reach out to Ms. Brittany Timberlake?
Yes, so you can reach out to me via our website. It's www.collegeboundcookies.com, and our phone number is also 973-622-8137. Again, that's 973-622-8137. But please check out our website. There's lots of great information on there. You can see how the program runs from start to finish. I'd like to say something else too. You know, this is one of those fundraisers where you don't have to collect cash and you don't have to send your child door to door. This fundraiser, all of the proceeds are processed online.
Wow.
Okay? All of the orders come through online. Each child receives an individual code. And whenever someone purchases cookie dough on behalf of that child, that tells our system, our computer system, exactly who that child is, what school or organization they're with, or even if they're independent. And therefore how much we're going to make a deposit into their college savings account. So this is really a very next generation, and it's not a lot of work that you'd have to do with other fundraisers.
Excellent. Currently, what schools are you working with?
We are working with Robert Treat Academy. We're also working with Zadie's Place in East Orange, just to name a few.
Nice, nice. So listen, viewers, stick around, and you too can be a professional like Miss Brittany Timberlake. So I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
We're looking to see and hear more things from College Bound Cookies. Again, viewers, thanks for tuning in here at the Professional Life Advice, where you too can be a professional. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here today with a special guest from East Orange, New Jersey, Miss Tracey Cosby. Tracey, say hello.
Hello, Will, and thank you. It's nice to be here.
All right. So, Miss Cosby actually she wears several hats. Not only is she an attorney, she's a community activist, as well as she's had a lot of experience as a judge in the state of New Jersey. Tracey, some of the things that she's actually done in the past, she started out in the military, ladies and gentlemen. She actually wears quite a few hats. I'm actually going to step to the side and let her tell a little bit about her story. Tracey, tell us about yourself and how you became all of these things. She's such a phenomenal African-American woman in the city of East Orange today.
Thank you so much. Actually, I attribute most of it to my parents and to my family. They were great role models.
Wow.
I had a great
Mom and Dad,
foundation.
shout out Mom and Dad.
Shout out family, shout out
There you
family.
go.
Had a great foundation. I was not perfect. I was a very free spirit at a young age, and I decided to go into the military instead of college directly after high school because I did not have the grades to go to the college of my choice.
Okay, what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the United States Army.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. But it was a great opportunity to learn team play and to mature as well. And subsequently, I went on to college and I worked my way through college while I worked in corporate America.
Fantastic. Now, if you had to think back to all of this ambition, what gave you such ambition and drive and motivation? I mean, you're doing a lot of things.
You know, I always have to look back on the models that were provided to me growing up. My uncle was an attorney, my father and my mother were in the helping professions, so I always knew that eventually, as they say, I would get my stuff together and that there was a contribution that I had to make.
Right. Now, when you talk about your uncle was an attorney, did he have a lot of influence on you when you were younger?
Visually, I think. Visually, as a child, I would go with him different places and I would see his work. As well as his accolades and commitment to community.
Now, was this something that you actually knew when you were in grammar school or a little girl? Did you say, I want to grow up to be an attorney?
No.
Because some kids say, you know, I want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a firefighter, and so on.
No, not at all. In fact, my journey is not a straight route. It's varied. There are many detours, and I think that sometimes that's important because it builds character, allows a person to actually know who they are in the end, and obviously we're still evolving, we're still growing, so we've never reached the pinnacle of who we are, who we can become, but it allows a better area for development rather than saying, I want to be this and that's all I want to be, and then when you get there, you may not know how to handle it.
That's correct. So this actually came upon when you were in, what, second year of college, third year, you decided to maybe pursue law school? When did you actually...
No, I was actually married with a small daughter. When I went to law school full-time, thank goodness. My ex-husband did something right in that regard.
Okay.
It allowed me the opportunity to go to school. And
so you actually got the idea about becoming an attorney when you were married, around that time?
it was an outgrowth of my community service and my activities in civil rights organizations, and I think that that's what prompted me to want to go to law school and to be able to impart that knowledge to the community.
Right, let's expand on that a little bit. You said your civil rights organizations, have you worked with some of the organizations in the area?
I am a past president of the Oranges and Maplewood branch of the NAACP,
Nice.
2 terms, as well as holding various other officer positions in that organization.
Okay, all right. I saw somewhere, I talked to another young lady, you also part of a sorority. What sorority you're part of?
Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Beta
All
Alpha
right,
Omega
shout out to the
Chapter.
Alphas, you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? All right. So Tracy, if you had to give a little bit of advice to people who are actually looking to go to law school, I mean, actually before we even go there, audience, I want to know, what was it like to sit on, to be a judge? I mean, that's got to be an interesting position. What was that
It was
like?
a phenomenal opportunity, and it's one that should not be taken lightly.
Okay.
The truth is that these are political positions, and all lawyers and all judges are not built the same. I think that most of us, however, do come into the job wanting to do the right thing, wanting to be able to adjudicate the law. But for me, it was absolutely phenomenal in urban districts to be able to have people stand before me, all of whom are potential victims, and all of whom have to be treated with the same partiality and justice as one would say the purported victims would be.
Okay. Now, was there a level of, if I had to say, satisfaction in that position, and was there a level of dissatisfaction in that position? Because I'm sure there were times where your gut was a little bit this way and that way. Can you elaborate
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that the satisfaction came that in some small measure justice was served. We have to understand what the meaning of justice is. Justice is not necessarily equality. Equality is that everyone is treated the same. Justice is that you are not treated the same as someone else because your circumstances are different. And in the criminal justice system, which is the municipal courts are quasi-criminal, So
Okay.
very often, two people may be charged and may be convicted with the same crime. They will not get the same sentence because they have
Absolutely.
different backgrounds.
Yeah, I've seen
Their
that.
criminal history may be different.
Yeah, I've seen that happen in more than one case. Actually, depending on their ethnic background and the town they live in, seems like the outcome just is totally opposite of what you might expect as a viewer.
Well, that might be the case in some locations. I can't speak to that. I can only speak to my courtroom. And in my courtroom, justice was served. And as I indicated, a first-time offender is not going to, under my sentencing, receive the same sentence as someone who is a 10th-time offender.
Right, makes a lot of
Okay,
sense.
and that's what I mean by justice is not necessarily equality, but justice should be served and meted out appropriately.
So we want to give the audience a little bit of advice. There's a lot of people listening in right now that may have the urge, or there's some students, I'm sure, who want to go back to college, who want to pursue the law and maybe even become a judge, or maybe a Supreme Court judge, for that matter, who might want to be involved in activism and NAACP. What kind of advice would you give a person who's wants to pursue this type of career pattern?
I say that you really have to diversify your portfolio. And when I say portfolio, I'm not speaking necessarily in the financial manner that people may think that I am, but
Right.
diversify yourself. Be involved in so many different areas of life, in the arts, in community activism, in politics, in culture. And when you're well-rounded, you bring something else to the table, which enables you to walk in all circles. And that's the level of sophistication that is necessary to be a good justice, to be a good adjudicator or a good lawyer.
To the hospital, they said, Mr. Ham, you have 17 broken ribs, you have a broken hand, a collapsed lung, lacerated liver, and a punctured spleen. It doesn't look good, but the good news is that I come from a community that prays for me.
I say that because we need networks, we need friends, and when you intensify your dance with mortality like so many of us, we all get closer to physical death. I come to my physical death with a smile on my face, because I'm going to get out sweating. Okay. Everybody going to be so used up that even the worms going to look at you and say, oh my God. This Negro been through. What's this black man been through? I'm serious about that. Very serious about that, because one of the reasons why it's difficult to build this kind of organization. My organization means three things. Talking about division and the courage behind your vision, your analysis. Do you really understand what you're up against? Do you understand the economy, the nation state, its relation to corporate media, and the reason why there's so much sleepwalking in the country? And then the organizing and mobilizing that has to take place. Yeah, we're going to talk about all of that tonight. Oh, yes. You see, look, the history of black people is the history of that caravan of love, trying to get folk to wake up from their sleepwalking because they've been normalizing the thinking that love is so isolated and so rare and so atypical. That's why when Huey Newton stood in front of the police, they put the gun to his head and said, "You can kill me, I'm willing to die for the people." Black folks said, "You go crazy." Never been loved like that. The way Nat Turner and Harriet Tubman, the way Sojourner Truth, the way Marcus Garvey, the way Malcolm X, the way Fannie Lou Hamer, the way Stokely Carmichael, the way Diana Ross, and the way Donny Hathaway, and the way Curtis Mayfield, and the way Shirley Caesar, James Cleveland. Love of people talk, they hate themselves. I want to begin by invoking one of the great figures in the caravan of love, the love train that the OJ sang about. And it is W. Du Bois. Anytime we raise those kind of crucial questions, you got to invoke the Sankofa. How does integrity face oppression? Second query. What does honesty do in the face of deception? Honesty in the face of deception. The third query. What does decency do in the face of insult? How does virtue meet brute force? Those are the four queries I've been wrestling with. And he's saying in part, there will never ever be an awakening among a sleepwalking people until the issues of what it means to have integrity and honesty and decency and virtue are thoroughly not just affirmed, but are enacted and embodied. That's real. That's authentic. Doesn't make him a god or a deity. The brother had been loved in such a way that he understood that he could love by somehow being part of that caravan of love, and therefore he was willing to organize, clarify his vision, sharpen his analysis, and most importantly, to pay a price, not a market price, a moral, a spiritual, a political price. That's right. June 26, 1964, he called Malcolm X. We know because it's on the FBI file. Look at Claiborne Carson's books. Malcolm X FBI file. Martin Luther King FBI file. June 26, 1964, Martin called Malcolm. March the 12th, Malcolm broke from the Nation of Islam. No Malcolm without the love of Elijah Muhammad. Without a love and critique he has to bring. March the 26th, they shaking hands in front of the Capitol. June 21, 3 of our courageous freedom fighters in the South were killed with Sherman and Channing and Goodman. Malcolm had announced, we're going to the United Nations. We're going to put the United States on trial for the violation of human rights of black people. I invite all organizations to join me. What kind of history would be impaired if they had got together? Ebenezer on Sunday, and we got a chance to preach that sermon. The name of that sermon was Why America May Go to Hell. That's not Jeremiah Wright. That's Martin Luther King Jr. He didn't say America ought to go to hell. He didn't say America should go to hell. He said America may go to hell. Why? Because he had said America is the major conveyor of violence in the world. The major violator of international law in the world. He said, and I know the FBI has already said that I am the most dangerous man in America. That's a lie. I'm not the most dangerous man. The most dangerous force, the awakening of the people. The most dangerous force is when vision, analysis, organization among a hated people, when a rage is transformed into a righteous indignation, almost like Jesus in the temple running out the money changers in Jerusalem. And that temple, of course, was the equivalent of White House, Congress, Wall Street, and Hollywood. That's why there's no critique of the drones that have dropped bombs now on over 4,000 precious human beings and 230 innocent children. Those are war crimes coming out of the U.S. government. It's wrong, it's unjust, it's immoral. Those are war crimes. Both parties, bipartisan consensus, remain silent. You get a right-wing brother like Rand Paul has a filibuster for 13 hours because he's concerned that U.S. government's killed 4 American citizens. No accountability, no responsibility at all, given the new laws. Now, if it defends that, you can detain folk without trial. You can assassinate folk with no responsibility. That's in place now, in place under the present administration. That's our dear brother Vaughn. People ask me, oh, Brother West, how come you're so hard on the brother? Hey, I'm a Christian. I love everybody. At least I try to. I pray for the brother and his precious family. I don't want any harm to come his way. But he's responsible for his deeds. And he's in a position where he can actually cast a light on Wall Street crime, on imperial crimes in the form of drones, on the criminality in the criminal justice system. How much effort has he made in trying to disclose those lies and those crimes if he has the audacity to say that he's got some relation to Martin Luther King Jr.?
I have a special guest today, a legendary DJ, a legendary artist, a legendary mix master to house music, all the way live here in the state of New Jersey, Newark, I might add, Mr. Sterling Voigt, all the way from Chicago, Illinois. Sterling, say hello.
What's going on, man?
All
Sterling
right.
Voigt. What's happening, man?
Yeah. So Sterling, what brings you to New Jersey?
Well, first of all, I had a gig here last week at the Club Aroma. I was hanging out with my girl Michelle, and we put together a little show. I brought my guy down, Curtis McLean, Jerry King from Kingdom Digital Music, and Kim J was with us, man. We did a nice show. I was DJing.
Right. Also, I saw Mr. Curtis McLean with you guys as well.
Yeah, Curtis is with me, man. The Move Your Body man himself, man. That's my man. So we go way back, man, to the beginning.
All right. So, since you've been here in New Jersey, have you traveled to the city? I understand you did some things in New York.
Yeah, man. I went over to Club Silos, man, and I was over there with Louis Vega and Kevin Heads.
Oh yeah, Kevin Heads. That's my boy.
Yeah, that's my man.
Roots New York.
Roots New York. Yeah, it was banging, man.
Yeah.
And I still must say that club is off the chain, man.
What was that experience like?
It was hot, man. Louis banged that mark, man. Kevin did too, man. But it was just so. It was really my first time being in a salsa club where it was Louis was playing salsa music, man, and man, I was seeing some tremendously wonderful dancers, man. I don't really see stuff like that in the Chicago area because I'm more into like strictly house club stuff. So.
Right. Now, mentioning house music, right now we have a guest who's been on my show before in the past, DJ Antoine Qua. I understand you connected with Qua while you're here as well.
Man, Qua, man, that is one down-to-earth cool brother, man. I met him at the Irvington High School homecoming, man. I met him and his wife and his son.
I believe the mayor was there as well.
Yeah, I took
Mayor
pictures.
Wayne Smith.
I took pictures with with the mayor, and he was a really cool brother, man. And that whole day was great, man. I love Irvington. I love Jersey, period, man. It's just been a real cool experience. The weather's great. Going out tonight to the after party, Mike Epps after party.
Oh yeah, Mike Epps gonna be down at the NJ Pack.
Yeah, we're going to the concert. We're going to the after party. Got VIP passes. That should be real nice, man. Looking forward to seeing Mike. You know what I'm saying? You know that's one of your buddies, right?
Absolutely. Him and Tina Graham. Tina's been on my show as well. Voigt, do me a favor. Tell the audience a little bit about the Sterling Voigt past. Speak forward, go to the present, and then go to the future and tell them some things about what you're doing. But first of all, go to the past.
Okay, man, for the past, man, you know, I was really hanging out with my boy a lot. Marshall Jefferson, Paris Brightlet, you did vocals for me with a few different tracks, man. And, you know, house music back in those days in Chicago, man, was rough and raw, man. You know what I'm saying? We were like making this stuff in our house, and we had little drum machines and our little keyboards, and we would make stuff and put it on cassettes, and we would run it down to Ron Hardy at the Music Box or Frankie Knuckles at the power plant. Okay. And these DJs would actually take it from the cassette. Sometimes they'll play it at the parties live, but most like Ron took it and put it on a reel-to-reel, man, because he'll play your track backwards, man. We used to listen to music going backwards. And as that, man, I still like the Pet Shop Boys did a remake of It's Alright. And it was, man, it's so many remixes of It's Alright. It's pathetic, man. So what I did was, like, in the last, like, about 8 years, I ran into a guy named Mike Morrison from the UK. He was looking for me. He said he was looking for me for about 10 years. Hooked up with him and did a couple of license deals for It's Alright and Runaway Girl. And actually, he directed me into the real business of house music. I wouldn't even say house music. I would say music business, period, man. Mike Morrison, I give a lot of love to him and credit to him, man, for who I am today. He taught me the inside about the business, man, because back in the day when It's Alright was out, I was more infatuated just being a guy who had a record out, man. Okay. I didn't know too much about the business, and unfortunately I got burnt a lot of, you know, ways dealing with the music business, man. I won't really mention that company that burnt me, but
okay.
if anybody
For those of my viewers out here who don't really know who Sterling Void is, first of all, you could actually Google him, and how else can they get in touch with you? Through your Facebook?
They can get through me through. I got 2 Facebook pages, and I got a Sterling Void It's Alright music group page. Okay. And I got SoundCloud, Mixcloud. You know,
they can reach you on your. You want to give them your Yahoo?
Yeah, they can hit me at void.records@yahoo.com. That's how you can hook up with me if you're a vocalist or a remixer. I'm always looking for vocalists all the time, male and female, spoken word. I really don't mess with rappers too much because I'm not a rapper. But if you can sing spoken word, female, male, hit me up, void.records@yahoo.com.
Okay. Some of the things that Sterling Void did back in the day, we want to just go there and then we're going to move fast forward again. He used to play at name some of the clubs you used to play at.
Oh, man, I did the 1018 Club, I did Bentley's, I did the Palladium, I did the Red Parrot, I did the Zans, I did Club Sensations, I did the, what was that, Cheetah Club. Okay. Oh, man, we had a ball that night at the Cheetah Club. I did the World. Wow. I did I think it's a club over there where Knuckles was at.
Knuckles?
He was at the Factory or some I forgot the club.
Factory,
Factory. Yeah, Sound Factory. I did that, man. I've been around, man. I did the Tunnel. I did the Tunnel with Daryl Pandy, man. Rest in peace, my boy Daryl Pandy. Man, I've been, man, back in, that was in the 80s, man, early 90s, man. The whole club scene is totally different now, but, man, and like you said, speed up. I got my own label now, Void Digital Music, man, which is, I just had like 8 top 10 releases, top 10 charting records on Traxsource, Beatport. I'm not hard to find, man. I'm everywhere, man. I just did a remix for the fluorescent track for the Pet Shop Boys. I did something for Boy George for his up-and-coming album, man.
Fantastic. So listen, before we go, Mr. Void, I need you to give the audience, there's a lot of aspiring artists out there who are looking to do something. And since this is professional life advice, and we're always giving advice, give just a small snapshot of some advice if you're looking to get into the music business. What should be your mindset?
First of all, you should, well, your mindset has to be that you believe in yourself, first of all. Next thing, you must eat well, eat healthy meals and stuff like that. It's the reason why I'm saying this, because this guy is always on me about eating healthy. I like fried chicken. Everybody who knows me, I love to eat chicken. I eat a lot of chicken. I'm going to share with you, on a personal, positive note, make sure you get signed up with a publishing company, BMI or ASCAP. I'm BMI.
Okay, that's good advice.
I've been with BMI for years, man. And once you go there, with the business being like it is, it's no really in dance music unless you you just happen to get that #1 hit record. I would advise a person to start their own label, man. Wow. That's where you'll see your money.
Stick around, viewers, where you too can be a professional like Mr. Sterling Void. Once again, I want to thank Mr. Sterling Void for coming on the Professional Life Advice Show, where you too can be a professional.
Professional.
I'm here with the comedian, Jay.
Hey, Jay, I'm Jay the comedian, Def Comedy Jam, 3-4-time alumni, BT, the movie Dirty Game, Comedy Only in the Hood, da-da-da. Been around a long time, from the bricks, born and raised, Fashion Weekway, Hayes Home, more power to you.
All right. So, Jay, thanks for being here with me, man, on Professional Life Advice Show.
Not a problem.
We're here at the Mike Epps Show, and Jay the comedian is doing his thing here in the state of Newark, New Jersey.
Newark,
Thanks a lot, Jay.
Always a pleasure.
All right, one love. The Brick City in the building, Professional Life Advice,
yes,
where
sir.
you too can be a professional.
That's right.
I have come to know him personally. So when we read a book, from my perspective, it's not just a book. It is symbolic of a trophy, of a human spirit who has overcome the odds. Someone who has therefore refused to accept no for an answer, and someone who has pushed back on injustice for years. And as a result of that, there are individuals who indeed would think that right now, Rev is telling, he's in his glory, but they don't know his story. This man has absolutely gone through thick and thin in order to get to where he is today. And so as a result of that, tonight Rev is here on a unique occasion. This is a very important historical moment. Reverend Sharpton is coming here tonight as an author. someone who has transformed himself in order to deal with the issues of today. There was a hymn writer who wrote, "To serve this present age, my calling to fulfill." He has a strategy for the present age. His voice is now heard around the world. This man right here, champion Politic Nation, and people are turning on everywhere to hear what he has to say. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor, it is my pleasure to present tonight one of the most prophetic and consistent voices that you can count on in the United States of America to champion the cause of the people. My friend, that I am so humbled to present to you tonight, none other than the Reverend Al Sharpton.
And I told them, well, really, what you see, I don't see, because you live it and you just do it. And y'all are watching, but I'm living it. And I can look around Newark and talk about transformation. But it's about being responsive to the times that you live in. The Ras Baraka I knew 20 years ago is not the Ras now, but he stands for the same thing. And if you're the same thing at 45 you was at 25, something wrong with you. Now, it amazed me before talk about Sharpton don't wear tracksuits no more. Well, when I wore tracksuits, Run DMC, everybody wearing tracksuits, that's what we wanted. I don't wear bell-bottom pants no more either. I mean, it's not the style no more. But they act like they said something intelligent. Because they think we cannot grow with the times. Just like they have not grown with the time. Well, you know, you got the ear of the president. Well, I supported him. I ought to be able to talk to him. Did you think I campaigned for him so you could talk to him and I couldn't? I mean, that just don't make sense. But so a lot of their analysis is crazy. But then at another level, it's instructive. So I said to them, Sheila, that I would write the book, but that I didn't want to name it what they wanted. They had some other name. I said, I wanted to call it The Rejected Stone. And they said, why do you want to call it Rejected Stone? I said, well, one, it's biblical, 118 Psalms. The stone the builder rejected became the cornerstone.
Amen.
But the other reason is that this nation now is being run by rejects. When the economy sunk, we woke up one morning and Lehman Brothers went out of business. Banks were closing. The auto industry, which was the backbone of American manufacturing, closed. Detroit faltered. The president was not only a president, he was the son of a president, son of a CIA director, the right pedigree, the right education, the right connections, and he sunk the economy. And the United States had to go get a rejected son of Kenya, father from Kenya, who not only came behind a sitting president, beat a president's wife, and a war hero to become the president. It became the era of rejects. And any of us that know anything about God or nature, whatever you want to do, knows that in due season, first will be last, last will be first.
Good morning. My name is Vaughn Thompson. I'm the principal of the Eagle Academy for Young Men of Newark. We are an all-boys school serving grades 6 and 7 currently. Our plan is that our school will be a 6 to 12 school serving over 500 young men at full capacity. Our work is focused on ensuring the academic achievement as well as the social development of our young men. To that end, we have done a lot of work with securing some very powerful mentors who have provided our young men the opportunity to really embrace what their life development looks like, their character development, and because we similarly emphasize both character and academics, we spend a lot of time with the young men making sure they understand that that's important. Our mentors have played a vital role in the lives of our young men at Eagle Academy, ensuring that they understand what it's like to grow up and be responsible young men, as well as moving from a boy to a man. That's been our work, and that will continue to be our work, supported by folks like the young man sitting next to me.
My name is Tony Pierce. I'm one of the Newark mentors for the Eagle Academy. And I chose to be a mentor because giving back to the community was a big, vital thing for me, trying to save a lot of our young boys who grew up in some of the incidents like myself, mother not in the house, father not in the house. So I grew up with a lot of channeled anger, and I didn't understand at the time that it was just fear. So on my journey of growing up, understanding that we just need one male voice that you respect in order to make a change. So I just decided that my voice was one of the voices that I felt that could make a change in one of the kids, or possibly all of the kids at the Eagle Academy.
So currently we are at 6th and 7th grade. This is the second year of the school. We're growing the school one grade at a time with about 70 to 80 young men on a grade. Our plan is that within about, I would say 6 years, when we're at full capacity, that the school itself will serve over 500 young men here in the city of Newark.
We're looking for the best possible mentors that's willing to give back and do the right thing.
Hi, what's up? It's your girl Priestess, and I'm here at the Black Girls Rock 2014 Washington, D.C. Professional Life Advice TV show. Who am I with?
Mercy J, Alexia Velasquez, Kosi, and Ayana.
And Black Girls
Rock!
Thank you.